Hello everyone, welcome back to the Health Philosophy series. Just a quick rehash of our last video where we spoke about emptying your stress bucket. Up here I have two diagrams from the last video. This top one is meant to represent our body's capacity to deal with stress. So we have a bucket there and it gradually gets filled up, and when it overflows our body engages in what's called the stress response. We looked at lifestyle and we kind of broke it up into four quadrants. We had physical and functional, which is basically how well is your body shaped and how well are you moving it. Nutritional and chemical, what's the quality of your food like, where are you procuring it from, does it have chemicals on it, how are you cooking, what else is in your environment, in your makeups, your creams, your cleaning products, etc. What other toxicity are we exposing ourselves to day to day. We have mental, emotional and spiritual stress down the bottom here, mental being things like job and finances, emotional being relationships, family, spirituality, who am I, what's my place in the world. And energetic stress down there as well. Things like radiation that we don't necessarily have an awareness of how it's impacting us day to day. Now, as you can see, this bucket has latent levels of stress residing with it all the time. We don't live in a bubble, we don't live in a perfect world. Even just the fact that there's pollution in the air means we're getting some exposure to toxicity. So we have this latent level of stress within our bucket, and I guess the secret is, the less of that you have, the more capacity you have to deal with stress when you get faced with a significant stressor in your life. So when we do have this happening in our body, why is it important? Why is it important to monitor that latent stress? And the reason is because when our bucket tips over, we go into what's called the stress response or the fight or flight response. Now, the fight or flight response is something that we've evolved to have over thousands of years, and it's a protective mechanism that's embedded within our system. We're hardwired neurologically and hormonally to engage in a particular fashion when we're faced with some sort of stress. So let's look at how this works. You're walking down the street and someone jumps out of a laneway at you and wants to attack you. So you have two options. You either have to fight them off or you have to run away. And to achieve either of those, our body has to change all of its physiology right there in the moment to try and help you achieve either of those results. So it upregulates some things and downregulates other things in order to try and help you achieve that. So it increases heart rate, blood pressure, clotting factors, sugars, fats and cholesterol. Why does it do that? Well, number one, we need more blood pumping around our body. So our heart's working harder, it's increasing the pressure to squirt around faster, it's carrying more energy within it. And that's helping us get away. Now, what happens if we happen to get cut or a wound or something like that? We're going to bleed more, so our body also needs to be able to heal that wound faster. So that's why we get the increased clotting factors. We need increased alertness, because what if there's more than one person? What if someone's coming from the other side of the road as well? So our concentration reduces in order for our alertness to increase as another form of protective mechanism. This alertness means that we hear more, we see more. Our filters that we have day to day that stop us from seeing and hearing absolutely everything, they come down. We're really aware. That's why when people are in chronic states of stress, they find it hard to be in loud, populated environments because they're overstimulated. Their system can't deal with it. We have increased levels of anxiety. It's good to be anxious. We need to be anxious in that moment in order to try and help us survive. But on the flip side of that, we also get reduced mood. No one's ever happy when they're in a scrap, are they? We have these in place because if you were happy, if you are jovial, you're letting your guard down, you're more susceptible, you're in more danger if you're in that state. Now let's have a look over here at what gets downregulated. And you can see in big capital letters here, we have immunity. Our body doesn't need to fight off the sore throat or the flu right there and then. It needs to get us the hell out of there. So that system gets shut down a little bit in order to help us achieve that. We have reduced digestion. We don't need to worry about lunch. We'll deal with that later on. Let's just get out of here. Reproduction, again, we're not trying to have another kid right there. We're just trying to get ourselves to safety as fast as we possibly can. And then obviously reduced memory as well. We hear stories of people that escape from some kind of traumatic experience, and then when they are asked to recount it, they can't remember. I don't even know how I got here. That's because our body doesn't want to formulate these complex memories. It's diverting its attention elsewhere to get you to safety. Now, this sounds great, isn't it? It's a fantastic mechanism that we have in place within our body. It's helped us for thousands and thousands of years. But If we stay in the stress response for long periods of time, it begins to bring about pathology within the body. And as we go through this, you'll see this is common throughout our society everywhere right now. Increased heart rate and blood pressure, cholesterol, fats, sugars and clotting factors. When we have that happening in our body for too long a period of time, we get heart disease, blood pressure problems, cholesterol problems, diabetes, stroke. These things that are very common in our society are chronic stress disorders. Yes, we have some genetic predisposition for some people, but that's only a predisposition. And if we look after ourselves, if we address our lifestyle, we can minimize that risk. Anxiety and mood, the relationship there. Mental health is a significant problem right now in our society, not just because of what we're suffering from in terms of the coronavirus pandemic, but just in general. Before that, it was already a significant problem. And we can see that there's a strong relationship to our lifestyle and living in accordance with how we're designed as a human being, as an animal species, to express our health and well-being. Increased alertness, decreased concentration, decreased memory. Things like ADHD, people having problems concentrating at work. These are inbuilt problems that are happening within our body because we're faced with lots of stress. Reduced immunity, we have lots and lots of autoimmune diseases, cancer, allergies, infections, where our ability to fight off infections is more difficult. We have digestive issues, also related to immunity because a huge amount of our immune system resides within our gut. And we know that our microbiome changes when we're in chronic states of stress. It becomes less effective. We need to understand that these relationships are not just about, I've got some stress, I'm really stressed, it's in the mind. It's everywhere in our body. Our whole body suffers when we're in this chronic stress state for long periods of time. So as you can see, it's really, really important to understand right now when we have a lot of stress, we need to work on our lifestyle. We need to understand all of these mechanisms that can contribute to our stress bucket being filled up and overflowing. If we reduce the latent levels of stress, we have more capacity, more potential to adapt to the stresses that we're faced with, and our body is going to have a better ability to overcome any of those. And we're not, at the end of this, going to be left with some kind of chronic illness or chronic other health challenge because we've been sitting in this state for too long. I hope that was helpful, and I look forward to sharing the next video with you soon.